to the Yarn Parlor. I'm Allison. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as alevitt1. This is episode 28, Tuesday, September 6th. Thank you for joining me today, all new and returning viewers. Show notes can be found in the Ravelry group. I post those on Thursdays. And this is my podcast about knitting, spinning, and knitwear design. Today I'm going to be talking about FOs, whips, some spinning, and fiber acquisition. So starting with some FOs. Okay, they're sort of FOs. Neither one of them is blocked, but I still count it as an FO because I do. Because I want to show it off. I finished my dotted raise. So here is my dotted raise shawl from Stephen West. This is the small size, and it's not even really the small size because I ran out of green yarn. So you will see here, this is my last dot, if you will. I'm missing like 9 more along the top here. So it's a little bit of a short section, but nobody will ever really notice, and I love this shawl. I love this shawl so much. The yarn is hand spun from Classy Squid Fiber Co., her apple picking colorway. I've gone over this like a bajillion times, but last time, for all you new viewers. And the yellow is Two Guys Yarn Co. Walk Along the Sun, 70 Superwash Merino, 30 Silk. And yeah, ends are woven in. I really just need to block it, and I probably won't even do an aggressive blocking because it's all garter and I kind of want to keep it this squishiness. I might stretch it a little bit, but this is the small size, and I will try it on for you. But for the small size, and I didn't even knit it to its full potential in that last wedge, it's pretty big for a shawl. I mean, it's not huge or anything, but it's a substantial shawl. I can still wear it. I love it like this, like a little mini poncho deal thing. More of a shawl, and then if I want to drape it this way. I love the layers in this. They kind of pop out, the blue, the reds, and then the green, creating this tiered effect here. But my cats are fighting. I wonder if that's coming up on the microphone. Yeah, I love it. I love the way that this came out. I did a really loose, let me put this back on. I knit the I-cord along the edge and along the bind off very loose so that it was extra stretchy. And not too many mistakes on this thing. I think one of these sections had like way too many increases. I actually had to decrease or not increase on a couple of the rows afterwards. I don't know how that happened. That was a weird one. But I think that's the only thing that I really came across that I was like, whoops. Yeah, I love it. It came out great. I'm super excited. It's done. And I still have a little bit left of each color, not so much the darker green, that's not a lot. But I still have a little bit left, so I might knit a hat, maybe. I don't know. But I'd like to use up all of it, so maybe something. And my second whip is, my second FO are my Hyak socks from Kim Swingle. These are also not blocked, and the ends on these are not woven in. So technically not finished, but you know, close enough. I finished the second. This one's the second because I messed up the Kitchener. Sorry. Messed up the Kitchener stitch on the toe there. But I did knit the foot shorter on this one, and it fits a little bit better, so I might rip out the first one and decrease a couple rows. That's why I didn't weave in ends and block, because I wanted to revise that one. It's just a little bit too long in the foot, and I think these are more for like a house sock type of thing, so it isn't super bothersome, but when I start thinking about it, I'm like, I just need to, plus it's worsted weight, so it's 2 seconds. 2 seconds and it's finished. I knit these from, these were my August sock challenge socks, and it is knit from For Better or Worsted and Zula in the Juniper and Paprika colorway. I knit the medium size sock, and I went down in needle size by 1 size. I knit a US 5 for most of it, which is a 3.75 millimeter. And yeah, I like the rib on these socks, so I might try a ribbed fingering sock next. I think it fits really nice. Like, it just fits my foot better than a simple stockinette. Or I like the way that it hugs. It doesn't necessarily fit my foot better. The rib just hugs my foot, and I like that. Using my words. Yeah, I think that's it that I wanted to say. I'm gonna change the foot length. And these are my Burning Impressions sock blockers, which I really like. They have my name on them and little yarn ball and knitting needles. They're cute and they're good. Those are my 2 FOs for this week. I can't believe I have 2 episodes back to back with FOs. I think that's a first. Just finishing things left and right. So moving on to whips. I wanted to start with my brother's. I haven't done too much other than those projects, but I have done a little bit. This is my brother's Christmas socks, so I decided to put it in my Danny from Little Bobbins knits. Oh, my cats decided to fight in my office right now. Okay. This is my Christmas pudding bag from Danny from Little Bobbins Knits. I got this last year, just happened to catch her update. And I thought it was fitting since these are my brother's last year's Christmas socks that I just started. The sock pattern is Classic Socks by Kristin Spurkland, and I just got past the cuff. And my little progress keeper, this is from Sugar Miniatures. This is the sugared plum. It's really cute. The yarn I'm using is Miss Babs, Biker Chick. All these grays and rusts. I like this one. What base is that on? This is on the Hot Shot, which is a 3-ply fingering, and it's 80 superwash merino, 20 nylon, 400 yards. So I just finished the cuff, gonna have to stop this and separate them. They keep biting. I just finished the cuff and I started the pattern. It's an easy 4-row repeat, and yeah, I think it'll add a lovely little texture to the leg. And I'm making the size medium. I've never knit my brother's socks before, so this is kind of the first proto attempt for his foot size. I'm going to knit 72 stitches. I hope that fits. I think I knit for my dad the 72 stitches, and those fit him fairly well, so I think 72 should work for my brother. And but I'll have to do a longer length. This pattern, it does for circumference. The size is gauged on circumference of the foot and length of the foot, but for the medium it would be too short for him, so I'll have to increase the length on the foot for these, according to the pattern, but we'll get there when we get there. And I think that's it. Oh, I'm knitting these on US 1s, 2.25. These are my Hya Sharps. I like these, especially when doing any kind of like a textured pattern. It's nice to have really sharp needles, especially with tiny stitches. Just works better for me. And that's it for these socks. I didn't get too far on those, but they'll be fine. And the other projects that I work on, or project that I worked on, was a hat from my hand spun. It is the Hats for All pattern by Carrie, Bostick, Hoge. And that's inside out. I think I showed this before. I started this in July for my Italy trip and for the hand spun knit along. But I didn't have a progress keeper, so I'm not sure if I showed this to you or where I was, and I really haven't added that much anyway. I think I had the ribbed brim done, and so I've only done like an inch. But I couldn't find a size 7 in an actual like hat circumference. These are huge, but I'm stretching the hat and it'll work for now. At first I was magic looping it, and that cord also wasn't really long enough to magic loop, and I'd rather not magic loop a hat, so I will work with this. These are 7s, which I believe is a 4.5. Yes. And this is also Classy Squid Fiber Co. Beet Salad is the colorway, and I spun it as a single. So I was working this pattern, this hat is a gift for a friend, and I was working on this in Italy, and the friend that I was with, who the hat was not originally for, she's like, "Oh, I love that hat. Can I have it?" And of course I said yes, and so this hat is going to be for a different person than I originally intended it for, and I will be knitting a second one because I have enough of this fiber to spin up another one and make a second hat for the original person that it was supposed to go to, which is perfectly fine because I wanted to do hand spun, hand knit gifts this year for Christmas. And so this works out perfectly. And the person who actually asked for this hat, she was the one who I learned how to spin with. Last year, we were at the Big E, or the Big Eastern Fair, together, and we saw somebody spinning, and we decided that Christmas we were going to buy each other fiber and spindle as gifts and learn how to spin. So then after we did that, I had made a pact with her, I guess, that we would then make hand spun, hand knit gifts for each other, just to kind of, if one of us didn't actually like spinning, to try and keep us at it. Kind of, if you try it just once and you don't like it, give it a little bit longer. So, so I said this year we would do hand spun, hand knit gifts. And so I bought other things to spin and make for her, but she asked for this, so she's getting this and possibly others, because I already bought her stuff to make things, to spin and make something with. So, but she liked this, so great. This will be a gift for her. And then I've actually started, see, I don't remember if I showed you guys these, but this is the other hat that I'm making, that I already started with this pattern, so I'll have 3 hats. This is the orange color. This is also Classy Squid fiber. And so this will be 3 hats, same pattern, 3 gifts. Only I ran out of yarn that I spun, so I have to spin up more yarn to continue with this one. And those are what I've been working on this week for knitting. For spinning this week, I've got a couple new things because I was getting bored with all of my same old. So I started with these Rolags from Bumblebee Acres Fiber Farm. And this is the Ireland colorway, and it is Cormo, Silk, Firestar, Nylon, and they have Sparkle listed here, but I'm assuming that's just the Firestar. So it's got greens and golds, and then this like coppery brown sparkle. And I just needed, I feel like a lot of the spins that I've been doing recently are a certain thickness, and I'm trying to really stay consistent, and so I just wanted something where I was just spinning. There was no particular project in mind, there was no pattern picked out. I just wanted to spin yarn, and whatever happens, happens. So this is what I've spun so far. It's a single, and it's fingering to worsted-ish. I think this is 4 Rolags. I don't know what the weight or yardage is, and I haven't soaked this yet. But it's just fun. It's a fun spin, and I've been enjoying it, and that's the whole point. So that is their card. And the second spin that I've been working on is from my Into the World Cheviot. And this is Follow the Butterflies, and there is the braid. And from what I have heard from other spinners on their various podcasts, Cheviot is good for socks. So I've decided that I want to use this braid for socks. So again, I've got a project already picked out, so it's kind of, I have to stay with a certain consistency. What are you doing? Finnegan. You wander into my office, you get to be on the podcast. This is my baby, who is not really a baby size anymore. Hi, Fin. This is Finnegan. Okay, you're not entertaining enough. Bye, Finn. So this is what I've been working on. I plan to chain ply this. So I've been spinning it quite thin and tight. because I wanted to chain ply my last sock spin, which was my loop bump that I'm still working on, but I wasn't spinning tight enough and my yarn kept on breaking whenever I attempted to chain ply it. So learn from that. And I now am spinning tighter so that my yarn won't break when I chain ply. And that I'm doing on my Acreworks Lotus spindle. And I really like working with the, I was about to call it Cormo, the Cheviot. It's soft and bouncy, and it's next to skin soft though, but it's got a heavier micron. Like, it's still not as soft as merino, it's still a little bit harsher, but it's got nice bounce, and it's got a good feel to it. And since I have never spun with Cheviot before, I decided I will talk about the Cheviot breed. So the breed Cheviot comes from or named after the Cheviot Hills that go along the border of England and Scotland. And I found there were a couple websites that I took this information from, and I'll put those links in the show notes. But one of the blog posts that I got some information from was talking about how there are 4 different kinds of Cheviot breeds, really. One is called the Border Cheviot, also called South Country, and is now sometimes referred to American Classic. The second is North Country. The third is Brecknock Hills, and the fourth is the American Miniature Cheviot. They are dual-purpose sheep. They're raised for meat and wool. They used to be raised, I mean, not solely raised, but their fiber used to be heavily used for tweed fabrics. You could make a lot of money selling fiber for tweed fabrics. Not so much anymore, though, but their fiber is still used for tweeds and now for rugs as well. They are a great breed to raise because they were bred almost to raise themselves. So they kind of take care of themselves. They graze for themselves. They are made to just be on the hills and stay there, and it's easy for them to lamb, and it's easy for them to just carry on in their day. So it's a great sheep to raise. They are a smaller size breed, and they have some of their distinctive features are an all-white face. They don't have any wool on their faces, and they usually are all-white fiber. Their wool has a low grease content, and one of the links that I found was described the fiber as a chalky hand feel, or just chalky in general, and I thought that that was a great way to describe it because it has a very dry hand feel, and it doesn't have a lot of sheen or luster to the fiber, where a lot of long wools will have that shine to it. This one doesn't, so it was kind of the perfect word to describe it as chalky because it's dry and lacks luster. And staple length is usually 4 to 5 inches, and the micron is usually 27 to 33, which is that coarser wool. I would say next to skin soft, but it's a sturdy wool. That's it. And the last thing I have to show you guys today is a fiber acquisition that came in last week from Classy Squid Fiber Co. I just love her fiber. The way that she comes up with things, I absolutely love it. So this one is called By the Shore, and it comes in 2 bats. So her inspiration for for this was a mussel shell. So she did 2 different bats describing or showing the outside and the inside of the shell. So the first one is the outside, and it's this kind of textured, chunky art bat. It's a BFL base with silk, silk noils, and alpaca. And it was run through the carder only once, so it still has that like nubby texture to it. And then the second bat is the inside of the shell, which is smooth gradient from like a pearly white to the blue. So here's the gradient, white to blue, and this is BFL and silk, so it's got that smooth quality to it with the silk. And this will be I normally try to stay away from BFL because my first attempt was when I first learned how to spin, and I didn't draft, and I just didn't like the fiber, and I didn't think it was soft, and I was turned off from BFL forever. So this will kind of be like a reintroduction to BFL, I think. But there's some silk in there, so it's soft, and it's pretty much already drafted for me, so. But this was the fiber that she came up with, or these 2 bats were concocted as a collaboration with Hyak Spindles. They featured her as their June indie artist. And so Benjamin Crudwig from Hyak spun with these 2 and created a blog post about it, which I will link in the show notes. But he did this really chunky cable ply, which came out really cool. I don't think I'm going to attempt a cable ply yet. I need to get the chain plying down first. But I ordered a couple of these bats, so I have enough for a large shawl project, hopefully. And yeah, so those are my fiber acquisitions. And that is the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next week, and I'll see you then. Bye.